This is another in our series of videos introducing you to the BOUS Systems DSD route accounting application for Android. In this video, we're going to run through the end of day process and then create a transmit file and transfer that back to the office. So on the screen now, we're in the sales module, and so we're going to consider this the end of our day. So we've got the 3 customers that we've serviced for that day up on the screen. We can hit the back button to go out of the sales module, and that'll take us back to the main screen. And on the main screen, you can see we're still ready for sales, and what we need to do next is run the end of day. So we're going to hit the end of day option, and in the end of day, that'll be a series of reports that will print. You'll have any payments that were collected, the sales and credits that were generated. If you're tracking inventory, you can have the inventory status printed, and then finally a list of the credits that were issued for both sellable and non-sellable product. So those reports, the end of day process is really just that report. So you'll need to have the printer available and turned on before you hit the end of day reports button. Before I do that, there is one other button on this screen that allows you to enter in expenses. So if the administrator of the system has set up categories for your expenses, then you can record those in. So if I hit the expenses button, what I can do is select the category that I want to record. So maybe, for example, I want to be able to track the gas payments I've made, or if I put oil in, or paid tolls, or have some other miscellaneous expenses. These categories would be assigned and defined by the administrator. So if I want to say, well, let's go ahead and fill up with gas, or we filled up with gas today and I have a receipt for that, and I want to make sure that that's part of my end of day report that goes back as well. So we'll select the category and say that's $95. 95.00. There we go. And then once I add that, that line item appears at the top as an expense. And maybe I have another expense that we want to choose. Maybe I paid some tolls as well, and maybe my tolls were $5, and then we'll add that. So now that I've added those expenses that I have for the day, I can hit the back button, and those will become part of what gets sent back with the end of day report as well. The end of day report, we're going to go ahead and hit the print button. Now I'll have a printer assigned to my device. I don't have this particular printer attached right now, so I won't print to that printer, but what you do here is it'll come to up with the printer that you're defaulting to, and then when you hit yes, it'll start that process. I'm going to take a moment and just change this to a PDF so that I can print without it telling me that the printer is not attached. And then when I say yes, it'll go through the printing. And when that screen is done, it'll allow you to go back to the main screen. And in the main screen, we've got a change to our status now. So since I've run my end of day reports, it says I'm ready to create my transmit file. And so to create your transmit file, you go into your transfers option. And on the transfer screen, just to give you a general idea of what you're seeing here, obviously the action buttons are at the bottom like the other screens that you've seen. At the top, we've got the files that have been previously sent back to the office. And the administrator will determine how many of those files will be saved. But these files are here so that if you did need to retransmit a file, that could be done. So maybe if there was a problem in the office and the last backup they had was a couple days old, you might be asked to resend the files from the last 2 days. And to do that, I won't actually resend those files now, but to do that, you'd go into the resend files button, and then those same dates that you were seeing at the top of the screen, they represent the files to be sent back. So maybe I need to send back the file from September 2nd and September 3rd. When I check on those and hit OK, it would transmit those back to the office. I'm not going to send those back right now. I'm just going to go ahead and hit OK. It'll tell me I didn't select anything, and just it's letting me know nothing was sent back. So you do have the ability to resend. It's not something you would do on a daily basis. You'd only do that if you were asked by the office to send that back. But the process we're going to run right now for creating the file or sending and receiving the files, these first 2 buttons at the top here, those you'll do each day. So now that we're in the ready to create transmit file button, or ready to create transmit file mode, we're going to hit the create transmit file button. And you'll notice at the top the date isn't All those dates have been sent, but this will add the additional date. And so now we can see that our September 5th file, that's the transaction date we're doing here, that's been created and it's pending. And that pending means that it's waiting to be sent. It's not yet been sent back to the office. And the little cloud icon up here is clear. Once we send and receive, then what that will do is it'll take any of the files that show that they're in pending mode and it will send those back to the office. So you don't have to select the file. The system knows which ones need to be sent. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hit the send and receive button here. And that process, you'll see at the very bottom, it'll give you an idea of what it's doing. It's sending those files. It also will be picking up any new information. And so that's why you can see here we've got view imports, and there are a number 3 next to that. I'll come back to that button, but that's basically telling me that I've picked up files. But we can also see at the top now that the September 5th that was pending is now showing as sent and has a checkbox on it. So that's your indication that the system has sent that file and thinks everything went through fine. The view, you don't really need to open this up, but this is just giving you some information to let you know that something's been picked up. If you hit that button, it will show you the files. So I picked up a new set of customers and products and the price schedules here. So that's just letting me know if the office, if you knew that the office, it was, it's Friday afternoon and you know every Friday we send customers out, then that's a good indication. You can at least tell, yes, you picked up the file like you expected. But again, really nothing you have to take action on. It's really just more for information. But once that file has been created, then we don't force you to send it back to the office. It's good practice to send it back each day. But if you're not able to send it back for some reason, maybe the office is having a problem with the server and they can't accept any files, then if the file was left in pending mode at the top, that's okay. You'd still be able to go back and get into the ready for start of day. You can see the ready for start of day mode is what mode we're in right now. So that tells you can run your next day's transactions the next morning. That process is updated when you create the transmit file. So if you do not send the file back to the office, we'll carry that transaction set over, and when you create the next day's transaction set, you'll see you'll have 2 pending files. So September 5th would have been pending, and maybe September 6th will also be pending, and those will both get sent back when you do your send and receive. Anything that's a pending file gets picked up and sent when you do that. So that's really the process of running your end of day and creating the file and transmitting your file.